You want to talk about narcissism in our culture? There was a TikTok video just went viral from a woman named Remy Bader. And Remy Bader showed up to a ranch, and I guess she wanted to ride horses, but there was a problem. So she's walking around the ranch, and she's got a little caption there on her TikTok video. It says, "Shout out to Deep Hollow Ranch in Montauk for making me leave because I weigh over 240 pounds." She's 240, there she is. I don't think they made her leave the grounds. I don't think they said, you know, you're going to fall through the earth and destroy the crops because you're 240 pounds. They just wouldn't let her ride a horse. And she was really angry about that. And she took to TikTok to complain about that. Because it's all about her. You see, the whole world is about her. And the suffering of other creatures doesn't matter as long as her pleasure is satisfied. Why do you think this woman was turned away from riding the horses at the ranch? Do you think it's because the ranchers just hated her? Do you think it's because of her terrible oppression? Or do you think it's because she was going to break the back of the horse and they took into consideration the feelings of the horse as well? And they took into consideration propriety and what's good and just outside of this woman's own will. But she says, I don't care if we break the back of the horse. What do I care about the damn horse? This is the same thing that the Marquis de Sade said. Truly, the Marquis de Sade, from whom we get the word sadism. His big question was, why is your pain any more important than my pleasure? That's narcissism. That's the extreme pathological version of self-absorption and selfishness. But it's different. It's much more than just a regular old selfishness, which everybody's got. It's this inability and unwillingness and lack of desire to take into account anyone or anything else other than oneself. She can't even see how ridiculous she looks posting that to Twitter. Not just ridiculous because she's bragging about her weight or as part of the body positivity pride movement. That in itself is sort of a ridiculous thing. But to come out and say, can you believe this? They kicked me. What about the poor horse? Oh, you never thought about the horse. Because you guys in this culture don't think about anything other than yourself. And it's very, very sad for everybody involved. We're living in a really low moment in our culture. There's this prejudice that modern people have that we know so much more than all those old-timey people. You walk around the ruins of ancient Greece, you think, of these idiots. They didn't even have iPhones. You know, what a bunch of dummies. Aristotle and Plato, what did they know? They didn't even have computers. What a bunch of dumb idiots. They had to walk around places, but I have a Honda. Those dummies. They were so unsophisticated. And so we have this idea that our culture is really so much more advanced. We're not. I think if you really look into ancient Rome at its height, you look into Athenian imperial democracy, really. You look at the great civilizations, you realize they really had it a lot more together in many ways than we do. In some cases, technologically as well. You look at the Roman aqueducts, for goodness sakes. And I think the clearest example of this today is that while the ancient Athenians may not have had iPhones, they knew what a woman is. They knew quite a lot about man and his role in the universe. Probably a lot more than the average person in our culture knows today. We talk about this question, what is a woman? This was a big Daily Wire documentary. It's even gotten worse since then. I thought that it could not possibly get dumber than having to explain to large swaths of our population that a man is not a woman. But actually, it's gotten even crazier. We now have to explain to people that elephants are not people. This was a real court case. We're all waiting on the Dobbs decision and other court decisions from the SCOTUS today. I've got an even crazier court decision that just came out of the New York State Court of Appeals. Fortunately, it was decided the right way. It was a 5-2 decision. So actually, 2 judges on the court didn't seem to understand it. The case was about this question, are elephants people? This case was brought by the Non-Human Rights Project. This is a radical animal rights group. The organization requested a writ of habeas corpus to take Happy a female Asian elephant that was brought to the Bronx Zoo in 1977 away from the zoo. And the reason they wanted this writ of habeas corpus, this idea that you have a right to your body, the group contended that Happy the elephant was not, in fact, an elephant, but a person. Because, they argued, elephants possess complex cognitive and emotional capabilities. And therefore, because the elephant was, practically speaking, a person, it was illegal to confine the elephant to the zoo. I'm not denying that elephants, relative to other animals, possess high intelligence. Sure. Relative to human beings, not even close, and a lot of people are confused about this these days. But relative to other animals, yeah, elephants seem very intelligent. They possess an intellect that is appropriate to their animal condition. But they're not people. This is a big distinction here. We used to understand that human beings are special. Human beings uniquely possess will and intellect. We have language such that we can communicate not merely our appetites and our desires, but we can communicate in an abstract and rational way about objective reality to one another. That's how we're speaking right now. That's how you're hearing what I'm saying. That's how I'm going to hear from you in the voicemail bag on Friday. That's how we have self-government. It's how we decide what to have for dinner and everything else in between. That is different from any other animal, including the elephants, who are relatively very intelligent, that's true. But the elephants aren't people. Here's how I'll prove it to you. If elephants are persons, if they are people, then when they kill other elephants, when they kill people, we would put them on trial, right? That's what happens when you're a person. When you do bad things when you're a person, when you commit crimes, you are held to account for those crimes, and you're given a trial, and you have the right to due process, and then you can make a defense for yourself, or you get a lawyer, and then you're found guilty or innocent. Do you think we should have a trial if an elephant kills some other animal and eats it? No, that would be ridiculous. Do you think we should even have a trial if an elephant kills a human being? There are, throughout history, actually some really bizarro cases of people who, either as a kind of public spectacle or because of a great deal of confusion, have tried to try animals and then hang them or execute them. The reason that these are notable throughout history is because they're so absurd. We all know, every single person with 2 brain cells to rub together on Earth knows that it would be preposterous to put an elephant on trial. Why? Because we know that the elephant isn't a person. Human rights, such as they are inseparable from human responsibilities, human duties, human obligations. And all of those things, the human rights and the obligations and the duties, are inseparable from humanity, which is different in kind from the rest of the natural environment. Not just different in degree, like the libs want us to believe, but different in kind. We're actually special. We're actually made in the image of God. And this isn't just some mystical pie-in-the-sky kind of notion. This has real practical consequences and real practical effects that we can observe. The fact that we can reason in an abstract way. The fact that we have a lower will, the appetite, and a higher will, and we can actually sort of tame the appetite to some degree through the rational will that mediates between the divine will and the appetite. All these sorts of things. I'm just giving you the very basic overview of the most elemental aspects of philosophy that have been discarded because we've replaced all of that with will. We've replaced all of that with just, I want, I want, I want. I think the reason that the libs are confusing animals with human beings is not because the animals are behaving like human beings, it's because the human beings are behaving like animals. And we're neglecting and discarding our higher will and our reason and our facts and our logic. Why do you think that the videos, Ben kind of first popularized them, but then they became a whole genre of the internet? So-and-so destroys such and such with facts and logic. Why did that become such a big phenomenon? Because we're living in a culture that increasingly discards facts and logic. And we know that that's special. We know that facts and logic are special and important and something that play a central role in human life, or at least they did until recently, and we miss that. That's why. That's why we get all those clicks on YouTube, folks. It's also why we're different, because the elephants, no matter how advanced they are, they cannot own you with facts and logic. They will own you with their trunks and their hoofs and smush you if you cross them. I'm glad you like that clip. Now, ding, ring, Wada wada bing bong. Make sure you hit that bell and subscribe. You will get all the notifications. Then head on over to Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Stitcher, Google Play, wherever you get your audio podcasts. Subscribe there too to The Michael Knowles Show. Leave a 5-star review. We'll see you next time.